Hey, welcome back to Talk Horror to Me, the only horror movie review. Blah, 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 blah. I'm having a bad day, guys. I'm just letting you know. Technically, actually, really tough day for me. And we're mourning the fact that our newest co-host is not here tonight. So that's like hurting my heart really badly. But with that being said, let's find out what we're looking at tonight. We review John Carpenter's The Thing. The Thing is a 1982 American science fiction horror film directed by John Carpenter from a screenplay by Bill Lancaster and based on the 1938 John W. Campbell Jr. novella, Who Goes There? The film stars Kurt Russell as the team's helicopter pilot R.J. MacReady with Wilford Brimley, T.K. Carter, David Clennon, Keith David, Richard Dysart, Charles Hallahan, Peter Maloney, Richard Masur, Donald Moffat, Joel Polis, and Thomas G. Waits in supporting roles. In The Thing, in remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. When they take in the dog, it brutally attacks both human beings and canines in camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of its victims. A resourceful helicopter pilot and a camp doctor lead the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against a vicious creature before it picks them all off one by one.
Hey, I guess Chuck is gone.
Where's Chuck? Oh no!
Oh, there he is.
A bad day. Uh-oh. You having a bad day?
Worst thing ever. This is what happens when you try to do a 1982 movie in its own right. But I'm back. Apparently, my Wi-Fi decided to switch over to the bad Wi-Fi, but here I am.
Mm-hmm.
So it just happens to be this way for me. I can't help it. I will say this was my movie, The Thing. I hope the whole thing turned out. Just dropping off. But yes, I picked John Carpenter's 1982 The Thing. But I got things. I got things to say about it. But what do you have to say about it?
I had fun watching it.
Okay.
I had to put my puppy in her kennel because dogs.
Dogs, right.
I was getting a little upset that they were shooting at that dog, but now I know why. And the like I was saying, the effects that they had, the practical effects, they did make me giggle. They really did. But for their time, it was really, really good. And Kurt Russell always good.
He looks good. He looks good.
So Kurt Russell is a practical effect you're all about.
Absolutely.
But the 1982 practical effects, you're like, man, you're more picky these days. I got it.
Oh man, when you see that thing coming out.
Okay, she's still giggling, y'all.
It's got the tentacles. And I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Hey, don't be sorry. Some of us, just have a lot more class than others. That's all I'm saying. So Brooke, the woman who never finished the film. That's right, y'all. She was in the middle of watching it in the last 10 minutes. I don't even know if she finished it. So Brooke, what did you think of the film up to the point where you watched it?
I love it. It's a classic John Carpenter film. So yeah, his special effects are usually like that in every movie that he makes. They're like exactly like that. So I'm like, classic him.
Stop picking on his effects. That's all I'm going to say. Because if all you're going to do is just tear down the effects, then you have no movie to speak of.
Oh, they look like puppets.
They do.
Are they puppets though?
Some of it is. Yeah, absolutely. It's all slime and KY jelly and rubber things and then using strings to kind of shoot it backwards. All that stuff's in there. It's all good. Now, I'm going to tell you, yes, I agree. Some of those effects look funny, but when you look at this film, and I grew up watching this film, it was terrifying back in the day. If you saw this film from Blockbuster in 1990, when practical effects were still the thing and not all that advanced, it was still creepy to see a head just leap off the body and then sprout some legs and little antennae, and tried to get out the room. So I love it because it's almost like an homage that's so old, practically effect wise, that it, like, I think it just makes the story better because it's not all based. Because they did a prequel in 2011, I think, which is everything that leads up to the dog being chased by the helicopter.
Okay.
Is the prequel. Right, so the people chasing after him in the helicopter, that is where it ends in the prequel movie. And the special effects were all CGI and did not even hold up as well.
Really?
Like, in terms of like the era that it was done in, it was like, yeah, okay, I think I'd rather watch the original. The one thing I'm going to say about this film in that regard is that the effects are not the story.
Right, exactly.
It really had nothing to do with it as much as I love the paranoia of this film. Like, it's the height of the Cold War in 82. There, you know, it's all about like us versus the Russians and like who's going to take us down with their nukes. So like the fact that this story is a subtle homage to the Cold War and a subtle homage to like you don't know who to trust, like MacReady says, tape recorder. Like, you know, nobody trusts each other anymore. I think that's like builds way more tension and fear than anything the alien's doing.
Oh yeah, they had that the wire test to the blood. I was going, oh my god, who is it? Who is this?
When the blood drop like came up, I was like, I jumped.
And that was actually the best effect. Is like, you know, because you got four of that with a little smoke coming out of it, and then that thing just creates a tentacle coming out of that thing. You don't even get to see it. It's so fast. But everybody, I think that scene was actually fantastic, where everybody's like, you know, trying to get away from the other person who's blowing up into an alien. Just that got my heart racing, honestly. But,
so what made them into the thing? Was it their blood? Like, did it get into their blood system?
No, he just, I mean, the alien shows you what it does. In private, it basically just like tentacleizes you and grabs you and kind of consumes you and then creates a replicate of you. Like to just walk around. Look, I'm a dog. Nobody knows I'm a new dog, or nobody knows that I'm Blair, or nobody knows I'm, you know, Fuchs. It's like you didn't know who was who because it was a perfect clone. But the whole point was that it was going to be more than one. Like it was going to keep replicating the person and like kind of build a group of itself, because every cell of its body was itself as in a whole. So yeah, it's not about like, you know, oh, I got it in my mouth and now I'm infected. It really was a physical thing that had to try to take you over, but it had to like digest you and consume you first. Yeah, but it was still pretty fast process.
Oh wow.
So Carly,
yeah.
What did you think about the human drama?
The human drama, I that's what I had fun with, really, because there was so much tension and so much, you know, sitting there with my knees up going, okay, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? No, really? That I really enjoyed the human drama of it, and the end of it, I mean, it.
Don't give it away because Brooke doesn't know.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
No, we can give it away. He's 43 years old.
Yeah,
if she doesn't know by now.
It's not happy.
No.
It is.
Although it could be happy, but we're left wondering. Just for you, Brooke, since you didn't finish the film. Yeah. Basically, they blow up the entire complex.
Which was cool.
I think it was Windows.
That was fantastic.
It was MacReady and Gary. They were the last three. And they get all the dynamite and they blow up the whole complex. But yet Windows and Gary get taken over by Blair. And then it becomes a huge monster. They blow up the complex. MacReady is the only one that lives. And then it comes across Childs in the blown up, very warm setting of the aftermath. And they kind of just look at each other going, are you the alien? Are you the alien? It's like, I guess we'll find out. Like, what's going to happen? We're just going to sit here a while and maybe we'll freeze to death. And that's kind of it leaves you with that. It's like, what happens? Are they going to be rescued? Are they both going to die there? They going to kill each other? You know, one guy, Childs had a flamethrower. So you never know.
Yes, he did.
So I love it. I love this is like kind of the adamant of me loving movies where you never knew what the real ending was. I love movies where it's like you have to figure out what's going to happen next, but you're given enough clues to kind of come up with your own story versus it being so vague. You're like, I don't know what's going on. So, Brooke, what do you think of that?
I agree.
I loved it. Like, it's sad that they didn't make it to the end. It's usually Black people don't make it to the end of the movie.
They had quite a few. I mean, they were well represented. I gotta tell you, Charles being at the end with Kurt Russell, the only named actor in the titles. If you notice, it was only like Kurt Russell, and then it was like directed, produced, edited, but like nobody got a name mentioned until the end credits. So I thought that was pretty weird too. That like he was the only billed actor in the title cards going into the film. So
Yeah, they were
very
just
cool.
banking on him.
I think
He
so.
was good,
God
though.
knows.
He
It
was
didn't
good.
make that much money. It wasn't like a huge blockbuster, but I think it's become, again, another John Carpenter cult classic.
Cult classic.
Yeah,
Yeah, classic.
absolutely. But since we had so much, let me just try this. Let's talk about our favorite moments. Hey, a transition that worked. So thanks, everybody. I'm here for you. So, Brooke, what was your favorite kill, favorite moment, favorite whatever that you got?
My favorite moment, okay, is when he was trying to, I guess, recess the guy with the pumps or whatever, and they took off his arms. Took off his arms.
So
My
good.
favorite part. I love it.
And that poor
Love
guy, he was still human, and he got his arms like, oh, that is a great
That
moment.
was my favorite part.
How about you, Carly? I know what your least favorite part was.
Well, I can tell you that head falling, that with like the green, that puke green goo, and the head falling, and then all of a sudden it sprouts legs, becomes a spider head. It's fantastic. I loved it.
Yes. Also a great moment. I liked, I want to say, I don't think it was Fuchs. I don't remember what his name was. The guy with the glasses that was in the middle of transformation. He runs out into the snow and everybody surrounds him. And like he turns around, his hands are still like being like formed. He's like, and they like just like flamethrower him with kerosene and the whole bit. I thought that was like such a poignant moment because it did not take that long for that transformation to occur.
Right.
And he's like running off, and I think he was running off to complete the transformation. But the fact that you could see that in between state, I thought was amazing. Yes, all the goop and gore, but there was two other moments I loved. One is the Blair moment in the tool shed where they come out and they asked him if he saw it. I forget who he saw it. Maybe it was Childs or forgot. But he's like, hey, I just want to come inside. I'm not going to hurt anybody. I was like, whatever was wrong with me, I'm better now. I promise you, I won't hurt anybody. And he's got that noose. He's got that noose hanging like in the foreground. And you're like, why does this guy got a noose? And nobody seems to be concerned about the noose. Like in Blair's like, is Blair trying to commit suicide and you interrupted him? Or is he doing exercises with I don't know. It's just like, nobody seemed all that concerned that he's in isolation with a rope and a noose. Was so weird.
That they were giving him the option.
Oh, no, it wasn't there when he put him in there.
No,
he did it himself. No, he put it in there himself. And I believe if you read the subreddits about this movie, is that he was taken over while he was in the tool shed. And so he was going to kill himself prior to that, but then was assimilated and duplicated afterwards. So obviously he's not going to kill himself. That's why he started building the little spacecraft in the basement.
Little baby spacecraft.
Little baby spacecraft. It's like a little one-seater. And then my second favorite is when MacReady comes in from being abandoned out in the snow.
Yes.
And he comes in with the dynamite in the flare. And I thought that was like, we're all rooting for MacReady because he's Kurt Russell and he's awesome. And then everybody else, you don't know in that room who's the real deal, who's assimilated. And he's just like, he can't trust anybody. I thought that was perfect tipping point for like what this movie's about.
So then he shot an innocent guy that wasn't.
Well, I mean, don't go attacking me with a scalpel, and I want to shoot you in the face.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, it was funny that, like, oh, see, I guess he was human. I mean, I felt that. I felt this, like, yeah, I killed a guy, but you all ain't making it easy for me to like, not kill people.
So blame it on everyone else.
I mean,
That's
listen, don't come. Huh?
It's kind of what he did.
Yeah. And but it was weird because nobody was like, everybody was so not leadership material.
Yeah.
Even Gary, the man who's in charge of the station, seemed to be the least equipped to handle situations.
Because he just didn't want to be tied up on that damn couch anymore.
No, he did not, which I thought was amazing. Awesome moment. But the fact that he like had the gun, but yet other people had guns. They have a whole cabinet full of weaponry. And I'm like, wow, you got a lot of weapons for being in Antarctica. I'm just saying. It's like, how many polar bears are walking around coming to get you? And flamethrowers. Why do they have flamethrowers? Why? I've never seen so many people in a scientific station have so many flamethrowers. And dynamite. I said, what are these people doing down there? I don't know. I want to know what their plan was.
Is there contingency plan for an alien invasion? Hey.
I don't think they were thinking that far ahead, honestly.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, there's a lot of holes in this film. Don't get me wrong, but there is a whole thread of like, if you could go to other places, they will tell you like who got picked off first, second, third, fourth. Like they'll tell you based on the film and watching the film, who was the first one that was assimilated by the dog, and then who was assimilated by that person. And, then they supposedly kill it, but then it gets away. It's a lot of threads to pull that you could watch this over and over again just for like that Sixth Sense vibe of like, oh yeah, the red. Every time I see the red, that meant something. And you start seeing it once you start like dissecting the film. No pun intended.
They did an awful lot of dissecting in the beginning.
They did.
I tell you what.
And I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be getting on that blood on me. I mean, those gloves, those little latex gloves only went down to here. I'd have it up to here. It was like I'd be in a hazmat suit, cutting through that. They did not seem all that concerned about some weird alien with tentacles, attacking their dogs. Crazy. But anything else, Carly, Ian, or Brooke, that you'd like to say about this film before we give it a rating?
Nope.
What do you think, Brooke? No?
No. It's an old movie.
Listen, just because it predates you and your birth, that doesn't mean it's not a good movie.
Call it old. I'm older than it.
I know. I am also older than it. I think Brooke's trying to say something more about us than she is about the film. That's why. But here's what I'll say: who's technologically challenged? Ain't me.
Yeah.
So, all right. If nobody's can't all be adept at everything. But with that, I guess we'll move on to how we're rating this. So, let me check. I'm gonna go with Brooke because Brooke is was so on top of this film from day one. So Brooke, tell us, what rating do you give this film?
Although I didn't finish it, I will give it. I'm still gonna give it a 4.8. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Dynamite, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Miss Carly. That's a very generous Brooke.
Yeah, I liked it, but I didn't get to finish it.
All right. Well, when we're done, you can spend the last 15 minutes saying, "Oh, that's what happens." I gave it a 2.
Well, the ending had me kind of sad, but overall, it's a solid 4 chess wizards. Cheating bitch.
Nice. I mean, here's the thing. We're in the middle of the Antarctic. I don't believe there's like 27 computers sitting around. So, that's one and done. You're not getting that back. But I will say to you, Miss Carly, that believe Dark Horse Comics did a graphic series about what happens after Childs and MacReady are sitting in the aftermath of the base. And I think it's called The Thing from Outer Space. And I think it was like a 2 or 3 book limited series. And it shows you how they get rescued and what happens after that. I'd have to dig in again. But there was some, like, not fan fiction, but there was some other things that were created in like the 90s, early thousands about this film. So
interesting.
If you want to go hunt it down, and I probably can find you a synopsis for it, there is more to be said about this. I don't know if he makes it back to the mainland. I don't know if he infects half the world in 27,000 hours. But you know, with that, I don't like to be outdone by Brooke because this film for me is a classic. I will say, other than the film effects, that obviously, unless they're going to like redo it and remaster it with CG effects to kind of make it work in today's era, I think it holds up. I think there's some plot holes, but I think they're small, like the window in the storm that they had. But I'm going to give this film, because of nostalgia, I will give it a solid 4.25. Only because you guys all laughed at the practical effects, and I want to acknowledge that I agree they're pretty silly and rubbery, but in '82 that was the bomb. So 4.25 large rectangular holes in the Antarctic ice, right next to a monster spaceship that crashed 100,000 years ago.
Huh.
That's mine. So Brooke gave it a higher rating than I did.
I liked it. I like this movie.
Well, I'm glad you did. Now, Brooke, have you seen this before or no?
No, it's my first time.
No, you have not. All right. Well, I'm happy.
Well, it was my first time too.
Well, good. I'm glad I can bring to the table things you never seen.
So, were they scientists? Is that what they did?
Yeah, there was a scientific outpost. I'm not sure what they were doing. They seem to all be doing nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was
like. I mean, there'll be ping pong and pool and roller skates. I'm not sure what they actually were physically doing, because when we come in and look at them, they're not doing much of anything other than goofing off and playing chess and dumping whiskey into computers. So I don't know. Maybe there's a subreddit or a wiki on that we can pull up. But with that, I gotta know what's next. I believe from my cue cards, and my producer is telling me, Carly, producer, telling us that you're next.
Yes, I am. Yes,
All right,
I am.
So tell us, dear, what is your pick?
My pick is the original The Omen. The original. I will be watching the remake because they're both on Hulu.
Okay.
And I really want to. I want to see them both and maybe do some comparison. But I don't want to put that on you guys. So.
Oh! Challenge accepted. You should know better than to put that on my lap. I mean, it'll probably be the film that shows up. If you like The Omen, you could watch The Omen.
The Omen.
And I'll just like The Omen. I mean, I remember loving The Omen. And Judy and I are going to watch it together. I remember it being super terrifying. Although, if you guys are going to make fun of The Thing's practical effects, I could probably make fun of some practical effects in The Omen as well. Yeah. But they're only this much of the film, so it doesn't read as silly, I guess. But I'm excited to see Damien again and see what he's up to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Brooke, you've seen The Omen?
I've seen The Omen.
Okay.
I actually have too.
Okay, good. Now, and we hopefully Nicole will be back next week.
Yeah.
Now, she did say that she doesn't like it when kids are in jeopardy. But is this really a kid? This is a kid. It's not really a kid. I mean, at least that's what we understand him not to be really a kid. So, but we will hope that she's got lots to say about this film. Hopefully she's seen it, because she is. Carly, wait, if you were the romance writer and you're the murder baby who's never seen any like horror, how is it you've seen The Omen?
Some of it. Because my friend Rose absolutely loved the movie, and she's like, "You guys sit down and watch this." So I sat down with popcorn, going, "Oh my god, oh my god!"
Okay. And you thought it was going to be like To Kill a Mockingbird because that Gregory Peck in it, right?
Oh no,
No? Okay.
I was like 18, 19 years old, and we got it from the video store, and
The Video Kid store, for everybody listening and watching, that's like
right.
a store you used to go to rent videos in like VHS
Mhm,
tape, then bring them home and get late fees when you try to return it after
mhm,
5 weeks. Okay,
yep.
just want to set the thing.
Yeah, and
My
that's what we
generation.
did, and I loved it.
So, but you saw it in the 80s, early 90s?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Oh,
So this is
wow.
one of those films that was already like a classic even when you first saw it.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, I'm excited for. I mean, are you gonna do a deep dive on both? Right. You're gonna give us a
Yes.
synopsis, play by play on what's
Oh,
different between both of
synopsis
them.
play by play.
I like a
I didn't
spreadsheet,
go that
triple
far.
wide, please. Okay.
I
All
didn't go
right.
that
Okay. All right. All right. Just
We'll
I
just
want to
go.
just prep everybody to know what they
We're
should
gonna
prepare for.
we're gonna do it Carly's size.
Okay. Cool. 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 All right. Well, with that, we don't have our lovely Nicole. We
No,
were
we
so excited
don't.
to have her
Oh,
last week, so we're going to be excited, hopefully, to have her back next week when her kiddos are all well and healthy and happy again.
Yes.
But we did already miss her this week. But with that said, I keep seeing like hearts, people doing hearts a lot, so I'm trying to just.
oh yeah.
No, it doesn't read. It looks good from my side, but it looks terrible otherwise. I'm just gonna just give up. I'll just give you my heart from my chest as if it was eaten doing beef dips. So with that, to both of you, Brooke, love to you, love to you, Carly, and to you all, thank you again for joining us on this very tumultuous Sunday night where I couldn't get anything done right. But we love to have you here, and don't forget, we're always here to scare you later.